poet Sarah would read the entire Bible in a year. Today, we're reading day 146 in that 2 Chronicles chapter 7, 8, and 9. And we're reading again about the Queen of Sheba when she came to visit Solomon because of all that she had heard about him. It was hard for her to imagine its possibilities, the truthfulness of it. It's interesting to note here in chapter 9, verse 23, it says, "The kings of all the earth sought an audience with Solomon to hear his wisdom that the true God had put in his heart." Now, she is the only one that's mentioned by name that was going and helping, not helping, but like spending time with him and examining what he had and having a relationship of sorts with him. Interestingly, when she looked around, she said, "May Jehovah your God be praised, who has taken pleasure in you by putting you on his throne as king for Jehovah your God, because your God loves Israel in order to make it continue forever." And she continued more. Clearly, she understood that this was the case. She was fully informed, possibly by Solomon himself. So she understood clearly where everything was coming from, and she was moved to praise Jehovah. I think that's very beautiful. They shared a lot of information with each other, and interestingly, Solomon gave her his best. Whatever she wanted, she could take it, and she wound up taking more than she had actually brought, and that's okay. In this case, he still had much to share, and he was being very generous. Unfortunately, we are seeing it here at the same time. He was still accumulating things for himself. We'll read about all the different chariots and horses he's got now, and how he's even married the daughter of Pharaoh. I mean, maybe he thought this was going to be some kind of alliance that would bring gratuitous relations, maybe peaceful relations between them. It is not what Jehovah told him to do, but that's what he chose to do. Let's go ahead and read 2 Chronicles 4, 5, and 6. Chapter 7. Now as soon as Solomon had finished praying, fire came down from the heavens and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and Jehovah's glory filled the house. The priests were unable to enter the house of Jehovah, because Jehovah's glory had filled the house of Jehovah. And all the people of Israel were looking on when the fire came down, and the glory of Jehovah was upon the house. And they bowed low with their faces to the ground on the pavement, and prostrated themselves, and thanked Jehovah. For he is good, his loyal love endures forever. Now the king and all the people offered sacrifices before Jehovah. King Solomon offered the sacrifice of 22,000 cattle and 120,000 sheep. Thus the king and all the people inaugurated the house of the true God. The priests were standing at their posts of duty, as were the Levites who had the instruments used to accompany the song to Jehovah. King David had made these instruments for giving thanks to Jehovah, for his loyal love endures forever, when David would offer praise with them. And the priests were loudly sounding the trumpets in front of them, while all the Israelites were standing. Then Solomon sanctified the middle of the courtyard that was before the house of Jehovah. For there he had to offer up the burnt offerings and the fat pieces of the communion sacrifices, because the copper altar that Solomon had made could not contain the burnt offerings, the grain offerings, and the fat offerings pieces. the fat pieces. At that time, Solomon held the festival for 7 days, together with all Israel, a very great congregation from Lebo Hamath down to the Wadi of Egypt. But on the 8th day, they held a solemn assembly. Can't talk tonight, because they had held the inauguration of the altar for 7 days and the festival for 7 days. Then on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away to their homes. Huey. Will help. He sent them people away to their homes, rejoicing and feeling glad of heart over the goodness that Jehovah had shown to David and Solomon and Israel, his people. Thus Solomon finished the house of Jehovah and the house of the king, and everything that came into Solomon's heart to do regarding the house of Jehovah and his own house, he accomplished successfully. Jehovah then appeared to Solomon during the night and said to him, I have heard your prayer, and I have chosen this place for me. I've chosen this place for myself as a house of sacrifice. When I shut up the heavens and there is no rain, and when I command the grasshoppers to devour the land, and if I send a pestilence among my people, if my people, on whom my name has been called, humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn away from their evil ways, then I will hear from them, from the heavens, and forgive their sin and heal their land. Now my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to prayer at this place. And now I have chosen and sanctified this house so that my name may be there permanently, and my eyes and my heart will always be there. And you, if you walk before me as your father David walked, by doing everything I have commanded you, and you obey my regulations and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of your kingship, just as I made a covenant with your father David, saying, there will never fail to be a man of your line ruling over Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments that I have put before you, and you go and serve other gods and bow down to them, I will uproot Israel from my land that I have given them. And this house that I have sanctified for my name I will cast out of my sight, and I will make it an object of scorn and a cause for ridicule among all the peoples. And this house will become heaps of ruins. Everyone passing by it will stare in amazement and will say, why did Jehovah do this to the land and to this house? Then they will say, it was because they abandoned Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. And they embraced other gods and bowed down to them and served them. That is why he brought all this calamity on them. Chapter 8. At the end of 20 years, during which Solomon built the house of Jehovah and his own house, Solomon rebuilt the cities that Hiram had given Solomon and settled Israelites there. Furthermore, Solomon went to Hamath Zobah and captured it. Then he built up Tadmor in the wilderness and all the storage cities that he had built in Hamath. He also built up Upper Beth Horon and Lower Beth Horon, fortified cities with walls, gates, and bars, and Baalath, as well as all of Solomon's storage cities, all the chariot cities, the cities for the horsemen, and whatever Solomon desired to build in Jerusalem, in Lebanon, and in all the land of his dominion. As for all the people who were left from the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, who were not part of Israel. Their descendants, who were left in the land, those whom the Israelites had not exterminated, were conscripted by Solomon for forced labor until this day. But Solomon did not make any of the Israelites slaves for his work, for they were his warriors, the chiefs of his adjutants, and the chiefs of his charioteers and horsemen. There were 250 chiefs of the deputies of King Solomon, the foremen over the people. Solomon also brought Pharaoh's daughter up from the city of David to the house that he had built for her. For he said, although she is my wife, she should not dwell in the house of King David of Israel. For the places to which the ark of Jehovah has come are holy. Then Solomon offered up burnt offerings to Jehovah on the altar of Jehovah that he had built in front of the porch. He followed the daily routine and made offerings according to the commandment of Moses for the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the appointed festivals 3 times in the year: the festival of the unleavened bread, the festival of weeks, and the festival of booths. Furthermore, he appointed the division of the priests for their services according to the rule of his father David, and the Levites for their posts of duty. Let's read 14 again. Further, he appointed the divisions of the priests for their services according to the rule of his father David, and the Levites for their posts of duty to praise and to minister in the presence of the priests according to the daily routine, and the gatekeepers in their divisions for the different gates. For such was the commandment of David, the man of the true God. And they did not deviate from the king's commandment to the priests and the Levites concerning any matter or concerning the storehouses. So Solomon's work was well organized. From the day the foundation of the house of Jehovah was laid until it was finished. So the house of Jehovah was completed. It was then that Solomon went to Ezion-Geber and to Eloth on the seashore in the land of Edom. Hiram sent him ships and experienced seamen by means of his own servants. They went with Solomon's servants to Ophir and took from there 450 talents of gold and brought it to King Solomon.